If you bring your projections forward, let's meet the next guy.
And without further ado, can we get started?
Yes.
I don't hear you tonight. What's happening? I know it's raining, but can we get started?
Yes.
Thank you. So, very quickly, we are not going to spend a whole lot of time on introductions. Instead, we are going to say our names, what institutions we work for, and we'll straight jump into what the topic is for tonight, because we are short, we're running out of time and we don't want to stay too long. I understand that because of the rain, we had to start a bit late. So I'm going to start with you, John, and you're going to tell us who you are, your institution, and then quickly get into why, what's the genesis of mobile lending and why has it taken off the way it has? Why suddenly is it not a new concept anymore? Why is it that there are so many people who feel the need to use it as a solution? John, let's give him a hand.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John Gachora. I'm the Group Managing Director for NIC Bank. So, just from that introduction, you can tell I'm going to be against this motion. Traditional banks must be preserved. Branches must continue to be opened, and so on and so forth. So I hope that sets the base for what I'm going to be saying tonight. But let's turn to mobile loans. Maybe before we get to mobile loans, let's talk about digital banking, because that's where it all began. And I think digital banking is it's a fairly old concept. Those of you old enough to remember the dot-com years of 1999 to about 2003, remember that there were quite a few banks that were open that were internet banks. Perhaps the most famous one was ING Direct, and quite a few others. And during that time, the idea was you opened, your bank account online. They had no branches. You transferred money from other banks, but you needed to have another account to transfer money into it. And then there was eBay that came soon after that, which was again to use your bank account to transfer money to make payments to others. So we turn here to Kenya, where M-Pesa, obviously, I think they celebrated 10 years, was it 2 years ago? I think 2 years ago they celebrated 10 years. And the genesis of M-Pesa, I think most of us know, but it has become the money transfer platform, really probably the most famous one in the world today. And the most logical next step was, if you're borrowing money, how do we deliver it to you? And certainly, I think that's where it all began. If you're borrowing money, how do we deliver it to you? And then, the smart ones figured out that all you had to do then was to have money to lend. And hence, the beginning of mobile lending. I think the genesis of it was actually here. I would say Mshwari was not really the first. There was the one from Equity. I'm trying to remember the name. Sorry? M-Cash was actually perhaps the real first one. And the idea was, you're a bank, you have money, we are M-Pesa, we have the delivery channel, and voila, right? But that limited people to having a bank account. So the next step was Mshwari. We said, actually, you don't need a bank account, the traditional one, but certainly you still needed one to do savings, and then you borrow from that, yeah? And the most logical next step was, you don't need a bank account at all. We have the money, you can borrow from us, hence the birth of the likes of Tala branch, which is represented here today, and obviously many other small ones that exist today. But I think the question should be, why has it been so successful? My view is, look, we hate borrowing. That's a fact. Friends borrow from you, and I can tell you it's embarrassing when you go to someone and say, can you lend me some money, isn't it? I We all know that. What mobile money does is to allow you to borrow in hiding, as I call it. Nobody knows who you are. Yeah? Phone to phone talking to each other. They don't see you. When it comes to collecting, again, nobody knows who you are. And all of us, we hate to be called out for debts, isn't it? The number one reason people hate banks is that idea of going to face somebody and having to explain why you need to borrow money because your mother is sick. Yeah? It's embarrassing to people. Yeah? Or because you found this fantastic car that you have named Regina, that you must buy. You have to explain all that. So I think I've said enough about why it has been so successful.
Okay. And I'll put you on the spot here. You're probably wondering who is this other gentleman sitting to my left, because Isaac Awando, CBA chairman, who was supposed to be here, could not make it. He had a family emergency that he could not avoid, but we are well covered because Dan was going to come anyway. Dan is from Branch, so I'll ask you to say a little bit more than John about yourself, and then quickly get into what segments have benefited most from mobile lending. Is it what kind of businesses? Is it male, female? What age? Is it youngsters? Is it older gender, men, women? Any kind of segment that has benefited most from this solution? Dan.
Yeah. Good evening.
Big hands.
Good evening. Is it on?
Press
Okay.
the button here.
Yeah, so my name is Dan Karuga. I am the General Manager for Branch International for East Africa. For those who are not familiar with our company, we are a very young company, 3 years old, but we're also very, very ambitious. We're using the latest technology in data science and machine learning to try and assess creditworthiness of the borrowers that the traditional banks have refused or they're not able to provide credit facilities for. So we raised $100 million, $10 billion in funding. IFC is one of our shareholders on the equity side, and we also have Anderson Horowitz, which is one of the early investors in companies like Facebook and Airbnb. So turning to your question, the thing is, the first thing, the banks are very slow and they're very risk averse. So the second thing is, there are a lot of people who need basic financial services. Globally, we're looking at 3 billion people who don't have the basic access to financial services. So if you think about Kenya, people who wanted to have that a couple of years ago would have to give out their phone to be able to get 1,000 shillings. So what we try to do is to eliminate that kind of collateral or whatever you want to give out to be able to get a loan. Because there are millions and millions of Kenyans who need funding and the banks are not able to provide to them.
Okay.
So,
as an introduction, we'll do with that and then we'll get back to you. But now I'll go to Professor. Thank you, Professor, for getting here. And it was with the traffic and you had an engagement right until about 6. So we appreciate your being here. So we'll quickly ask you to say your name and your institution. And then, I'm supposed to be a moderator, but I'm one of those John spoke about that don't borrow. Not because I don't have use for the money, but because I'm scared. I'm seriously scared of the idea that interest payments could actually be more than the actual principal. So that's my fear. Professor, there is a need for mobile lending, but are we doing it right? Give him a big hand.
My name is Bitange Ndemo. I am a teacher at the University of Nairobi. And I am here to...
I'm going to change your mind here.
What did I do wrong?
Yes.
Yes, I want to tell my brother a story about myself, if you allow me. I'm quite old. The time I opened my first bank account, I needed references from like 3 people to
What
open
is
an
the
account.
priest?
You know, they want to know everything. Where am I right? Yes. You needed to say who you were, who is banking. Sometimes you couldn't find anybody who is banking with that branch to give you a recommendation. Once I had opened an account, I just started teaching at the university, and I wanted a credit card because I was doing my doctoral program then. I went to the bank, and they insisted that I show them my payslip. Of course, if you know those who are teaching in the 90s, our salaries were 7,000 shillings. So they looked at my payslip and said I am a pauper, they can't give me the credit card. And I said, no, I want you to look at my bank statements because I happen to be doing some consultancy. And they said, oh, okay, bring that, but you must bring the payslip. And again, they rejected me. So I went back and said, can I deposit 200,000? I really needed a credit card. They actually refused to give me the credit card. Yeah, they completely, I don't have a problem with that, but because they made money easy, you know, they didn't require small people, you know, they didn't think about inclusivity until technology brought inclusivity, that anybody can have a bank account, anybody can be assessed using other factors other than where you earn your money from. I mean, as I speak to you today, through artificial intelligence, blockchain, machine learning, as you said, credit score mechanism is made. Mama Mboga is able to borrow. Mama Mboga is women who sell vegetables. Banks would not even open their doors to them. And sometimes they had a lot of money in between their breasts. That's where they keep.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
They couldn't. They couldn't. I know the problem still is the premium rent that you pay for mobile money. Whenever there is premium, it means there is still a gap for more people, more players to come. If 2 of us are selling bananas here, we can ask a little bigger margin because we are the only 2 of us. But if we bring 10 of us, the price would come down. This is a huge gap, a huge gap. And why I'm so happy now that we're going to show banks what they were never shown is that technology again is going to make it possible for us to borrow from Austria, to borrow from New Zealand. Instead of looking at 50 million Kenyans, some people are looking at 7 billion people. What is happening is that everything is moving to platform. The largest transport company has no car. The largest retailer, Alibaba, has no inventory. The largest telco, Skype, has no infrastructure. The largest bank in the world has no branch network because 90%, and they can confirm it, 90% of the borrowing in Kenya now is on the mobile platform. Why have the branch network? What for? What for? What do you put cost for citizens, which is, I have never been to my bank for the last 4 years, but I have a bank account, I transact, I do everything. Why put more cost? That is what we're asking the banks. And why are they just looking at Kenyans? It's because they are protected by the legal framework. It needs to be disrupted, and we play like Uber, we play like Airbnb.
Okay, Professor, then I'll ask you. Now that we agree that there is a need for mobile lending and mobile apps, are we doing it right? Are we enslaving Kenyans once again? So be my problem for
something
another.
In operations management, we call it the learning curve. Early as you begin to do this, there will be several mistakes, and those mistakes keep on coming down to a level where we are very, very efficient. Imagine, even government put tax on mobile transfer. This month,
Yes.
300 billion was transacted on mobile, when everybody thought that all tax is going to discourage. That's how serious it is. Even the government, we need to tell them that it will need to be more inclusive by enabling these people to use this platform. It's much easier. I work with people in shanty areas. The only way they know how to deal is through the mobile. Women with children in Kibera can't go to Toy to buy their vegetables and sell in Kibera. The only way is to call their supplier, pay them via M-Pesa, then they ask the motorbike with GPS and it drops those things at their doorsteps. They end up saving up to 50% if they were to travel. So if you really need to deal with poverty in this country, you need to look at those microtransactions.
Okay.
And the government needs to stop taxing those so that you bring in much more people in that bracket.
Okay, so John, I'm gonna ask you. Some apps border on pyramid schemes. At least that's what some are doing, and it's been documented. Where you have to pay to register on the platform, and then you get some commission when you enlist other people. What's your view on that? And how do we make sure that we are not helping rebrand pyramid schemes and giving them a shine by calling them mobile lending?
Before I answer that, may I comment on
Yes.
what the
Yes.
professor
Yes.
talked about? Because I think there is a danger, and a big one, of thinking that mobile lending apps such as Branch, Talent, many others are going against the banks and vice versa. I think one must always remember that the primary business of banks was actually very simple. They were granaries of money. That's what they did. They held money. Okay? And it was only over time they decided, actually, since we're holding this money, we can lend it out. Yeah? That's why you read them. The merchant of Venice was not a bank. Because the banks just held money. Merchants lent money. And then, even today, banks' primary responsibility is to ensure that people's savings are safe, people's deposits. So even when we lend, we have lots of regulations and lots of governance to ensure that at the end of the day we are protecting depositors' money. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Okay? Now, mobile lending on the other hand, their primary business is lending. At the end of the day, they will need the deposits that we have. So for me, what I see in the future down the line is the two have to merge. The two have to come together. Yes, the cost will come down as well. They have to. Today, you're getting, as you mentioned, the rates are very high. They have to come down and converge eventually. Because, Branch, your money that you lend, it's not deposits today, isn't it? It's investment money.
Yep.
Isn't it? Exactly. It's pure investment money. Somebody is sitting there saying this is an investment. And the first rule of investment is you're willing to lose it, isn't it? Unlike deposits. When you take deposit to a bank, you're not willing to lose that deposit. So I just want to make sure that people see the difference. The second comment I want to make is that, and this is a narrative that I feel I must try to oppose. The narrative that development, especially in Kenya, will be driven by mobile microfinance. That is not true. There's no economy that has ever been or will ever be built microfinance. Giving Mama Boga money to ensure that she has food for the evening. It's fantastic. It's subsistence. It's required. It's inclusion. But it's not development. Okay? You cannot build roads on microfinance. I'm sorry. You cannot build big schools on microfinance. That's not possible. you still need the big banks, the big financial institutions that can come to concert and build the full stage of concert. You still need those. So just want to make sure that people don't start writing off banks because we have this great thing called mobile loans. Now let me go now to your question. I don't think that paying somebody a commission to bring a customer is a pyramid scheme. Banks do it, churches do it. I mean, every church reminds you, please bring a friend next weekend, isn't it?
Do they pay?
Well, you get more blessings. That's what they tell you. What's the difference? Isn't it? So I think it's natural human selling technique to use people to bring others on board. Companies do that. They say, you bring somebody and we employ them. If you refer somebody, we'll give you some reference fee. So I think that's quite okay. It's not really a pyramid scheme. It becomes dangerous when you're giving somebody a percentage of what that person borrows. Because then you're not introducing them. What you're doing is actually driving them to borrow larger and larger amounts. Yes.
Okay. So then I will come to you and ask a little bit of the same question, and then I would like you to break down, because we never quite got there, who is benefiting most from an institution like yours? I know you are for mobile lending, but my view is that are we at risk of becoming pyramid schemes? And if not, then let's look at who is benefiting most from this solution.
Yeah, so let me start by commenting on John's thing. So the first thing is, number one, credit is just the beginning. So when we were being started in 2015, we did market survey. One of the most pressing things that Kenyans were talking about, or we found that was missing, is access to credit. So this is just the beginning. I want to believe in 2 to 3 years from now, all assets like us, we're going to evolve into other products. We're thinking about savings in the long term, we're thinking about insurance, and by the way, the future of banking is mobile. That's what's going to happen. 7 years from now, maybe even earlier than that, everything is going to be happening on your phone.
Professor says 3.
Yeah? You want mortgage, it's on your mobile phone. So I think that's a fact we need to agree on.
So he's agreeing on my convergence theory.
Yeah.
Yep, actually, yes.
Yeah, the second thing is, I wanted to comment on the question you talked about, being a pyramid scheme. When in the business like we are in, the barriers to entry are very low. It's not like a traditional bank where you need 2 billion minimum capital. Digital lending, initially the thing you need is software developer, they create an app, and boom, tomorrow you can start lending. So there could be those kind of apps that are asking people to register and to get commission. And this is where the idea of regulation comes in, because you have all these players, so we're coming to the market. So we support regulation to be able to stem this kind of players.
Okay.
So now coming to your question is, so we give 250 shillings up to 70,000.
Up to
70,000. That's
70.
70.
Okay.
So that's the limit. So you can imagine which one can you be able to get 250 shillings? Nobody can ever be able to give you that. And the idea is, so you come in at 250 or 1,000 or 2,000. That's like a billion
I'll
balance.
charge you 300 for walking.
Yeah, I'll talk about the interest rate. So you start with a small amount, and depending on how you build your credibility, you build well, you keep unlocking huge amounts. So the people that are benefiting with this amount is people that the banks have refused to talk to. Most of these, and by the way, 70% of our borrowers use funds to finance working capital. These are mama boggers, Uber drivers who need to fuel their car to be able to do the rides. So we are not just lending to people to consume. We are lending people to do business, and we see this every day. So talking about the interest rate, the beauty about using technology is you can actually be able to do what is called risk-based pricing. And that's what we're very successful in doing. So initially when the borrowers come in, they come at a bit of a high APR, 15 to 20% per month. And depending on how they repay, depending on the performance, we get so much data. Then the APR falls from 15 to 20% per month to 15 per annum. So that's what you can be able to do with data.
Okay. Professor, interest, 15 to 20 per month, and compared to the 13% John was defending last time and wanted it lifted.
Per year.
Yes, but per year, so I get that. How quickly is the transition from being that person that initially enlists on the platform at 15 to 20 per month and getting to a place where you can actually pay 15 per annum?
Let me also
Yes,
personalize his comment. He said that you can't build a nation with lending to Mamamboga. Actually, it's just that we didn't talk about which apps are out there. We have savings apps like eSacco. We have Ubapesa, which gets money from one person to the other. You bid for that. But the biggest thing that is coming is to create a legal framework so that we can begin to give money through initial coin offers, which is now big money.
Like Bitcoin.
Crowdsourced. You crowdsource and you get sufficient resources for development. And you are going to see even some housing developments, they are going to be built on ICOs. And that is, you bring your 100, 200 from Fred, from Mkubo here, even if you would invest in it. And then you do a major project.
So what you're saying is it's automated Harambe.
Automated Harambe, whichever you call it.
Yeah.
But it gets money, excess money you have.
Yeah.
You can put it in a project because now you have artificial intelligence can calculate your portion and give it to you, which the banks have refused to deploy so that they can do microtransactions. They keep on saying these people with small money, they are very expensive, but this is where we would transform this. And there is a reason why a government should be printing hard currency. We should move purely to digital money, purely to digital money. Because this is what the banks keep on saying, who will keep the money. We don't need to have cash. Do you need cash when you have investment?
Actually,
We are already
yeah.
living in digital currency.
Yeah.
We have experience in it. So the cost of printing money should be wiped out. We have digital currency straight to the central bank. It brings into the market. We use our mobile to transact around, and it would work.
What's your disaster recovery process? What would you do if you don't have a phone and need money?
If you don't have what?
A phone ready, handy, and you need to transact.
The phone, we will talk about it.
Okay.
We will talk about it. More than 90%, more 95% of Kenyans have access to.
No, they do. I'm just thinking, if you're stuck in the bush somewhere, your battery is dead, so you can't access your M-Pesa. We do need a little bit of money printed, don't we?
We don't need money printed.
Okay.
We don't need to print money at home.
Sorry, Prof.
Yes.
I just want to make sure people don't get misled here. Because I never said we keep physical money. I said, yes, it used to be a granary when it was physical money. Today, even in banking, most money is electronic. All your M-Pesa on your phone is backed by an entry in a bank.
Yes.
Okay, there's a digital entry in a bank.
So
Just want to make sure.
Okay. Now, how do we reduce the APR to the normal? Actually, we can go even better. You can borrow money in Japan at 2%. Yeah? Once we create a global lending system, you will ignore if it's giving you at 15 per month. Why would you do it at 15 per month? The only thing we need to do is the government to develop what is called a trusted identity. That anybody from anywhere can trust that this identity exists and there's a legal mechanism of recovering my money.
Okay.
Now we are actually protecting the banks by saying this is the Kenyan way. That's how the mobile lenders play around and do this. Soon, actually in a year's time, you are going to find money which they are earning low interest in some other parts of the world, that money getting its way into this part of the world.
Okay.